Reddit loves to call itself the front page of the internet. Tonight we're visiting the basement. This is I'm with Stupid, 101 of the dumbest, loudest, most confidently wrong Reddit posts people hit submit on completely serious. If this doesn't raise your IQ, it will at least lower your standards for humanity. 1. One Reddit user proudly posted a selfie on the highway with his first car, a bright orange riding lawnmower crawling along in the fast lane. He bragged about its insane gas mileage and called other drivers jealous haters when they kept honking instead of respecting his farm-to-freeway lifestyle. 2. A confused guy asked if the sun ever gets cleaned since it has been burning forever and must be dusty. People tried to explain nuclear fusion in simple words. He decided scientists were overcomplicating one huge campfire and suggested hiring space janitors to spray it with cosmic Windex. 3. One genius was genuinely unsure if 4 in the afternoon counts as morning or night, because anything before dinner still feels like morning energy. After people explained time formats, he announced he would follow his own personal time zone where the day officially starts with his first snack. 4. A proud patriot posted a picture of a bald eagle and asked what breed of freedom chicken it was and whether it tastes better grilled or fried. When reminded that killing one is a federal crime, he complained that the government is gatekeeping the most patriotic bucket meal on Earth. 5. A tech innovator admitted he microwaved his smartphone because a TikTok said heat makes batteries charge faster. The phone bubbled, sparked, and died. He showed the melted rectangle to Reddit and seriously asked if the warranty covers creative charging experiments, or if that only applies to rich people. 6. One driver calmly announced his new safety hack, closing his eyes for a few seconds when headlights blind him, so his vision can reset. When the horror in the replies reached maximum level, he clarified that he only does it on quiet roads and trusts his guardian angel. 7. A home gym bro explained his bulking diet, only pizza plus protein powder mixed with cola. He proudly called it efficiency eating because it hits carbs, protein, and caffeine together. When warned his organs might resign, he answered that kidneys are optional if your grind and mindset are strong. 8. A gamer confessed that he deleted his girlfriend's entire thesis to stop her laptop fan from interrupting his online match. His plan was to reinstall Windows later when ranked season calms down. He honestly wondered if she was overreacting by crying, screaming, and refusing to cook dinner. 9. One woman asked why her landlord is so dramatic about 6 goats in her one-bedroom apartment. She said they are emotional support lawnmowers who barely scream at night and are definitely quieter than the upstairs kids. Reddit agreed someone should be evicted, and it definitely was not the goats. 10. A do-it-yourself. Enthusiast showed off his soundproofing project by stapling cardboard egg trays over every outlet and vent to trap the noise. Then he wondered why half his house stopped working. He seriously asked if dense sound waves might be blocking electricity and whether he discovered home force fields. 11. This dude turned hydration into a speed run. He only drinks water while showering, so he never wastes time with boring sips during the day. He calls it productivity hydration, and genuinely asked doctors if he discovered a new body hack or if his headaches are just bad vibes. 12. One conspiracy hunter announced that birds are government drones because he never sees baby pigeons. Biologists explained nesting, seasons, and basic reproduction. He accused them of being paid actors, swore he would capture a metal pigeon himself, and asked how to interrogate a robot without violating real bird rights. 13. A computer hero bragged about freeing disk space by deleting the annoying System32 folder because it sounded like bloatware. His next post was a panicked cry for help because his screen is black and the computer just clicks sadly. He called it proof that Windows is petty. 14. A woman asked if she was wrong for charging friends a few dollars to use her bathroom during house parties. She even made a price list for different toilet paper qualities and premium flush speed. She framed it as teaching everyone respect for plumbing and modern capitalist bathroom values. 15. One user uploaded a photo of a burnt pizza surrounded by charred cardboard and asked how long you're supposed to cook it while still inside the box. The instructions said remove packaging, but he thought that meant just the plastic. His smoke alarm gave a very different recommendation. 16. A beginner cook wanted to know how long you have to boil pasta before it turns back into wheat and becomes more natural. People tried to explain starch and gluten. He got mad that Italians gatekeep ancestral grain transformations and promised to boil it harder until it becomes spiritual bread. 17. A disappointed tourist posted that the Eiffel Tower is not even tall because he could still see the sky above it. He suggested Paris should raise it on stilts or add a second tower on top for a more dramatic skyline. Locals politely invited him to try the stairs first. 18. One aspiring physicist recorded himself dropping a feather and a shoe at the same time and yelled that gravity is fake because they landed different. When people explained air resistance, he claimed real science should work indoors with ceiling fans on and called Newton a glorified Apple enthusiast. 19. A financial visionary proudly shared his plan to beat inflation by never paying off his credit card. He argued that if he only makes minimum payments for 50 years, future dollars will be weaker and his debt will be cheap. Math tried to warn him. Interest rates just laughed. 20. A guy proudly told the internet he fixed his girlfriend's anxiety by secretly throwing away all her self-help books and replacing them with a mirror and a sticky note that says, "Just chill." When she dumped him, he asked if modern women are allergic to constructive feedback. 21. One aviation expert wanted to know why engineers do not just build planes with flapping wings like giant birds to save fuel. When pilots explained weight and physics, he said humanity has gotten lazy, insisted we try at least one experimental metal pigeon, and volunteered other passengers as test subjects. 22. A confused customer could not understand how his wireless mouse runs out of battery when it has no wires for energy to escape through. He claimed science should develop vibe-powered devices that charge off his mood. When told that is not real, he accused electricity of lacking imagination. 23. A guy proudly shared that he proposed in the middle of his brother's wedding vows, arguing it was efficient because everyone was already emotional and looking at a couple anyway. He still cannot understand why anyone calls it selfish instead of legendary romantic multitasking. 24. One parent casually mentioned that they teach their kid the sun and moon are actually the same object wearing different hats because the sky is too small for two balls. When corrected, they shrugged and said complicated astronomy might damage creativity and they prefer minimalist space for toddlers. 25. A very anxious dreamer asked if police can arrest you for crimes you commit in dreams because they keep robbing banks and wake up feeling guilty. They were worried the subconscious still counts. Everyone said no. Another user suggested therapy before the sleep brain turns into Tarantino. 26. A gamer confessed that when his console overheated, he poured an energy drink into the vents to give it extra power. Now it smells like burnt sugar and will not turn on. He seriously asked if putting it in rice still works, or if carbonation changes the repair process. 27. One woman asked if she is too controlling because she only lets her boyfriend watch movies she has already seen. That way she always knows what emotions he might feel. Surprise plot twists make her nervous. Reddit suggested that if she hates unpredictability so much, she should date a statue. 28. A guy proudly claimed he can get a tan by placing a sunny beach photo on his phone screen and holding it near his face for an hour. He insisted he felt warmer already and said technology is basically artificial sunlight. Dermatologists begged him to at least buy real sunscreen. 29. A home office warrior shared his new standing desk, a thick wooden plank nailed straight into the wall, directly through several visible electric cables. He called it powerful minimalist design. The comments turned into a fire safety intervention and a betting pool on which wire would complain first. 30. One parent admitted they grounded their kid for pulling out a phone at dinner and proving them wrong with a quick search. They called it disrespecting elder wisdom with facts. The kid lost internet for a week. Reddit agreed the child is clearly the most responsible adult in that house. 31. A self-proclaimed environmental hero asked if he can reuse the same bathwater all week if he keeps adding soap and bubble bath each time. He claimed he is saving the planet, and that Romans did something similar. His only source on Roman hygiene turned out to be a video game. 32. An absolute kitchen mess posted charred chicken and explained that the recipe said bake at 400, so he assumed that meant 400 minutes. He patiently waited over 6 hours for greatness. When the oven produced something that looked like lunar rock, he blamed the cookbook for vagueness. 33. One financial genius bragged that he paid off his student loan using a brand new credit card with a higher interest rate. He announced he was now debt-free because debt cancels debt. Then he asked what color sports car matches financial freedom and ignored everyone typing compound interest. 34. A laptop owner complained that the computer keeps turning off when he folds the screen shut. He argued that real machines should keep running in the dark like grown adults and demanded a setting that forces it to stay awake forever. Everyone else suggested he try sleeping occasionally instead. 35. A confused driver seriously asked how often you are supposed to change your blinker fluid because a prank video told him old fluid causes road rage. When mechanics explained that blinker fluid is not real, he accused them of gatekeeping maintenance secrets and promised to find a more honest garage. 36. One man proudly admitted he swapped his girlfriend's prescription glasses with identical clear lenses so he could prove her vision issues were all in her head. She crashed into a mailbox and a parked car in 2 days. He came to Reddit wondering if she's too attached to labels. 37. A beachgoer wondered why people are scared of sharks when humans spend most of their time on land. His solution was to build a giant fence around every ocean so it becomes one safe global swimming pool. The thread slowly realized he thinks planets in science videos are actual scale. 38. A backyard architect built a cozy fire pit directly under his wooden deck and then asked why the boards above keep turning black and warm. He cheerfully called it natural smoke seasoning for the patio. Everyone else called it a future insurance claim and begged him to buy a fire extinguisher. 39. One self-taught dinosaur fan argued that vaccines are suspicious because you never hear about vaccinated T-Rexes. When people explained basic history, he decided scientists were hiding fossils with tiny needles and ignored every comment saying his theory was pure, dangerous nonsense. 40. A customer asked if they could sue a cafe because their hot coffee was too hot to chug the second it arrived. They wanted menus to list exact temperature plus an emotional readiness scale so they could calibrate expectations. The barista suggested they try iced coffee and cold common sense. 41. Imagine being so allergic to competition that your battle plan is the Wi-Fi plug. One office guy admitted that every time coworkers outperformed him, he quietly yanked the router from the wall to reset the vibes. When he got fired, he called it discrimination against spiritual bandwidth. 42. One nervous flyer genuinely wondered why planes do not have windows that open, since fresh air would relax passengers. When told that pressure would tear the cabin apart, he proposed giving everyone helmets with oxygen tubes. Airlines, according to him, simply lack customer focus and basic imagination. 43. A cash-obsessed guy bragged that he avoids taxes by always paying for everything in physical bills because money that touches my hand becomes invisible. People tried to explain receipts and accounting systems. He proudly mentioned he throws away every receipt as his own homemade encryption protocol. 44. A driver posted a screenshot of a speed bump and angrily asked why his map app did not warn him. He demanded real-time updates about every bump, pothole, and slightly rude squirrel on the road. When told to look up occasionally, he declared his eyes are reserved for texting. 45. A woman proudly shared that she installed a big mirror above her bed, specifically tilted so her boyfriend could finally see her angles correctly. He was horrified and moved out. She came online wondering if modern men are just afraid of romance, reflection, and basic interior surveillance. 46. One marine philosopher asked if dolphins are basically wet dogs that made it into college, and if we should give them diplomas. The thread somehow turned into an argument about whether seagulls are sky rats with tenure. At some point, an actual biologist gave up and went outside. 47. An energy saver explained that he turns his fridge off every night because food also sleeps and does not need cooling while unconscious. He admitted the milk tastes strange in the morning, but claimed his electricity bill feels spiritually lighter. Everyone else predicted his stomach would feel heavier soon. 48. A climate fixer suggested planting trees on the moon to absorb carbon from Earth. When told the moon has no atmosphere, he proposed we ship one there along with a starter forest. He insisted that if rich billionaires truly cared, they would at least sponsor a lunar national park. 49. One user complained that their smart speaker is biased because when they ask who the hottest person in their city is, it never says their name. They asked if there is a confidence mode that automatically compliments the owner. Someone suggested they try a mirror instead of artificial intelligence. 50. A proud prankster secretly swapped his vegetarian girlfriend's fake meat with real beef to prove she still loves the flavor. She found out and left immediately. He arrived on Reddit, shocked that people called him the villain for choosing his taste buds over her ethics and medical restrictions. 51. A space enthusiast asked if we can solve pollution by throwing all our trash at the sun and maybe cool it down a little at the same time. When physicists explained orbits and speed, he accused space of being lazy and said the solar system clearly needs better project management. 52. Some people use timers. This guy uses his smoke alarm. He proudly explained that he leaves bread in the toaster until the alarm screams, because silence means the toast is still raw. He calls it an achievement system. Firefighters call it job security. His neighbors call the landlord. 53. A woman proudly admitted she changed every contact photo in her boyfriend's phone to a picture of her face so he never forgets who matters. Now he feels like his entire social life is dating her clone army. She asked if he is secretly addicted to other people existing. 54. A banking artist bragged about beating overdraft fees by opening 5 different accounts and letting each one go negative in rotation. To him, that spread the damage around. He dismissed every warning about credit scores and promised to write a money guide once the banks calmed down. 55. One guy complained that his wireless headphones stop working when he showers while his phone charges in another room. He called it false advertising for freedom and expected the signal to pass through walls, water, and tiles like emotional support Wi-Fi. Physics declined to participate in his fantasy. 56. A do-it-yourself magician replaced the screws in his door hinges with magnets, convinced the door would snap itself closed with pure energy. Now it drags on the floor and randomly swings half open. He asked if there is a way to increase magnet gravity without buying real hardware. 57. A groom decided to spice up his wedding vows by adding the line, "As long as you stay under this weight." He thought it was playful honesty. His bride turned around and walked out of the ceremony. Online, he asked if romance died because women fear measurable expectations. 58. One confident swimmer argued you cannot really drown if you stay calm and just choose to breathe slower than the water. Lifeguards begged him never to test that theory. He replied that the ocean probably respects relaxed people more, and that panic is the real enemy, not liquid. 59. A self-taught scientist insisted Earth cannot be round because everyone would slide off during winter when it tilts. When shown diagrams, he decided gravity is actually magnets in the ground installed by governments. He announced he will not believe in planets until he can personally visit two. 60. A smartphone critic ranted that modern phones are garbage because they still die after a full day of heavy gaming, streaming, and flash on. He said batteries should last forever, or at least until he gets bored of the model. Anything less is clearly a planned conspiracy. 61. One guy confessed he keeps a spreadsheet ranking his girlfriend's outfits with scores for color, effort, and wow factor. He shows it to her weekly for performance feedback. She stopped dressing up and started packing boxes. He asked if she lacks growth mindset in fashion and romance. 62. A chronically tired user asked if they can sue their alarm clock company because being forced to wake up feels like a violation of basic human rights. They suggested alarms should pay people for emotional damage on Mondays and asked for a generic lawsuit template they can reuse each week. 63. A clueless cook wondered why his rice tasted like detergent after he washed it with dish soap to make it extra clean and shiny. He assumed restaurants do the same. The comment section collectively choked, and someone politely suggested he treat his taste buds as an endangered species. 64. Another genius tried to cool his apartment by opening the oven door, turning it to broil, and placing a box fan in front to push the cold from inside the walls. Surprisingly, the room got hotter. He asked if his house is rejecting innovation and prefers traditional suffering. 65. One camper asked if he could brush his teeth with sunscreen instead of toothpaste since both fight harmful things and come in tubes. Dentists begged him not to try. He replied that mint flavor is obviously just marketing and that he trusts the smell of coconut more than fluoride. 66. A roommate proudly admitted she threw away her friend's insulin to teach her body not to depend on chemicals. After the ambulance and hospital stay, she went online wondering if the doctors were exaggerating for drama and if modern society is simply too fragile about sugar levels. 67. A tab hoarder complained that his laptop runs slowly whenever he opens more than 50 browser tabs. He argued it is just thoughts, not heavy objects, so the machine should keep up. When people mentioned RAM, he said his computer is clearly faking exhaustion like a lazy coworker. 68. One creative tenant suggested paying rent with Monopoly money first to see if the landlord has a sense of humor, then using that to negotiate a discount. Everyone told him that is how you speedrun eviction. He insisted life is boring if you respect every rule printed on paper. 69. A home repair legend posted photos of a roof leak he fixed by taping an open umbrella upside down to the ceiling and balancing a plastic bucket on top of it. 6 hours later, everything collapsed in one soggy crash, and he came back asking if tape brands can be sued for false confidence. 70. A boyfriend admitted he hid a microphone in his girlfriend's car to record her talking alone so he could study her true personality. When she discovered it and moved out, he asked online if she's too sensitive about privacy and whether scientists ever ask permission from lab rats. 71. One user asked if drinking aquarium water is safe since the fish seem fine and basically live in vitamins. When everyone screamed no, he calmly suggested boiling it into fish tea to get protein. The entire thread begged him to drink literally anything else, even warm tap water. 72. A weather savior suggested dropping giant ice cubes into the ocean to cool the planet. His idea was to carve them from Antarctica and drag them around with ships. Climate scientists tried to explain basic math. He accused them of being negative and claimed he thinks outside the thermostat. 73. One furious binge watcher tried to start a class action because his favorite show ended on a cliffhanger. He called it emotional fraud and demanded compensation for sleepless nights. When someone suggested he read a book, he said novels are the original scam with even bigger cliffhangers. 74. One noise warrior bragged that he solved his neighbor's loud music problem by supergluing a Bluetooth speaker to their door and blasting white noise all night so they know how it feels. When the police arrived, he was shocked they sided with the person who did not weaponize jazz. 75. An office genius proudly shared that he keeps his laptop in the freezer overnight so it runs cooler and faster the next day. Photos show ice in the keyboard and frost in the ports. He cannot tell if the constant crashing is a software bug or the computer begging for warmth. 76. One person seriously asked if deleting photos from their phone makes them legally less connected to past mistakes. They wanted to know if memory works like a hard drive and if factory reset should be an option for personality. Therapists in the comments quietly updated their business plans. 77. A rookie cook tried caramelizing onions by dumping a whole bag of sugar on cold slices and microwaving the bowl for 10 minutes. The end result looked like lava with onion fossils inside. He asked why chefs act like cooking is complicated when it is obviously just heat and sweetness. 78. A boyfriend insisted that true trust means sharing locations 24/7. He said his girlfriend can watch his dot on the map too, as long as he remembers to enable it. When she refused, he diagnosed her with commitment issues and ignored the fact that he sounded like a detective. 79. One manifestation fan asked if you can retire by simply journaling about compound interest and visualizing investments instead of actually putting money anywhere. When people said numbers require cash, not vibes, He explained that negativity blocks abundance and promised his future motivational podcast will prove everyone wrong. 80. A confused passenger thought airplane mode on phones should freeze the plane midair since the name is pretty clear. He complained that the aircraft keeps moving, so the setting must be fake. When told it only affects radio signals, he suggested renaming it to honesty mode for transparency. 81. A do-it-yourself electrician proudly wired his bathroom so the ceiling fan only spins when the light is off. Now he has to shower in total darkness if he does not want to melt. He asked if he can retrain his brain to see in the dark instead of paying a real electrician. 82. One amateur biologist complained that if humans came from monkeys, monkeys should be furious we left the tree group chat without warning. He suggested we owed chimpanzees a global apology tour. When people explained evolution again, he decided he would simply continue believing in dramatic family breakups. 83. A husband proudly posted spreadsheets where he tracks every grocery item his wife buys and asks strangers to rate her spending choices. He calls it crowdsourced budgeting. She calls it creepy. When she mentioned divorce, he went online asking if she just hates accountability and organized numbers. 84. A spiritual accountant asked if opening every window in the house can let bad tax energy float out before the IRS notices. Money is just vibes in his mind. When professionals said that is not how revenue agencies work, he claimed that is exactly what they would say if threatened. 85. A health guru shared his trick for losing weight. He boils water for 2 hours straight to kill extra calories before drinking it. When people explained that calories do not work that way, he answered that his pants feel looser and science needs to respect the power of belief. 86. One woman confessed she secretly logs into her boyfriend's account to rewrite his angry comments so they sound polite and mature. She calls it free reputation management. He calls it identity theft with spell check. She arrived on Reddit wondering why he cannot just appreciate her unpaid public relations. 87. A flashlight critic demanded to know why using the light on his phone drains the battery when light has no mass. He felt cheated that photons cost power. Commenters tried to explain electricity. He argued the sun never sends invoices and accused physics of double billing his device. 88. Someone decided to conquer insecurity by painting their entire bathroom mirror solid black so they would stop judging their appearance. The next morning, they could not do makeup, shave, or style hair. They asked if there is a special paint that blocks self-doubt but still lets eyeliner through. 89. A frugal shaver bragged that he used the same cheap disposable razor for over a year to save money. His final update was a shredded chin, blood in the sink, and a bill from urgent care. He asked if saving cash still counts when your face officially resigns from the job. 90. A reckless driver said he always tells police his girlfriend has anxiety so he has to speed or she will panic. She begged him to stop using her as an excuse to break every limit. He went online asking if she is just being dramatic about hypothetical crashes and worst-case scenarios. 91. One believer in signs asked if sending angry emails exactly at 11:11 makes them more powerful because it is an angel number. When someone mentioned basic professionalism, he replied that his boss answers faster after those messages, which proves cosmic customer support exists and deserves a yearly bonus. 92. A self-declared scientist argued that masks do not work because you can still smell a fart through pants. His entire research method was eating a burrito and asking a roommate to walk by. Doctors tried to explain particle sizes. He just repeated fart as if it were peer-reviewed. 93. A security genius stores all his passwords in a draft email titled Passwords so he can access them from anywhere. He was shocked when several of his accounts were hacked. People explained that this is like leaving house keys under a doormat labeled keys. He called thieves disrespectful but organized. 94. A homeowner created a security system by placing a fake snake on his porch. Delivery drivers screamed and threw packages from a distance. He complained online about damaged boxes and asked if he can sue the companies for refusing to respect his reptile-based neighborhood security policy. 95. One woman demanded that her boyfriend stop having dreams that feature other women because she considers that emotional cheating. She wanted him to apologize every morning and write down only approved dream topics before sleep. Commenters gently suggested she date a screensaver or a goldfish with no imagination. 96. A budgeting beginner asked if canceling his streaming subscription means he has entered the housing market because he now saves $15 a month. People told him that is not even one brick. He replied that every empire begins with a single step and a slightly less crowded watch list. 97. One user wondered if they could teach their cat to pay rent by putting treats in an envelope and letting the cat push it toward the landlord's door. The cat actually delivered it once. Everyone agreed the animal is already contributing more to the household than the original poster. 98. A time zone skeptic said the sun looks the same on social media no matter where people live, so multiple time zones must be fake. When shown world clocks, he decided the planet obviously runs on one global schedule, and companies invented time zones to sell more watches and calendars. 99. A husband bragged that he hides the TV remote in his shoe every single night, so his wife has to talk to him before she can watch anything. When she quietly bought a second remote and stopped asking, he went online wondering if communication in marriage is officially dead now. 100. One experimenter tried to charge his laptop faster by plugging the charger into a power strip and connecting that strip to two different wall outlets for double electricity. Before anyone could reply, the breaker flipped and half his house went dark. He called it proof that safety rules hate progress. 101. Finally, someone asked if watching smart people on educational videos can raise their IQ by osmosis through the eyes and how many hours equal a college degree. When told 0, they announced that universities are just overpriced buffering and hit play on another 3-hour conspiracy documentary. You just watched 101 Reddit posts. So dumb, they deserve their own warning label. And every one of these people hit post with full confidence. Now your turn. What's the single stupidest thing you've ever read online that you still wish you could wipe from human memory? Drop it below. And if this video made you feel smarter than half of Reddit, pay your entry fee with a like and a subscribe.